What's up, guys? Welcome to Political Fight Club. This is going to be a short episode, and it's again about rotating hero theory or rotating villain theory. We've talked about this multiple times on the show before. It is a theory that's kind of been popularized by Glenn Greenwald that states that basically certain people, and in my case, in my analysis, and Glenn's analysis, the squad, generally will never vote correctly in a block. And what they do when they vote incorrectly is they never really allow one of the squad members to do all the correct votes. They also don't ever vote in a way where everybody votes incorrect all the time. They kind of alternate their way through, right? And that makes it so that no squad member gets too much exaltation and simultaneously not a tremendous amount of ire either. Because Americans tend to have kind of a short memory. And what they do is they say, oh, well, AOC did something great last week, so I'm going to forgive her for her really bad vote this week, right? And what happened before that I was talking about was AOC had introduced a resolution to block the money for bombs going to Israel, committing the genocide in Palestine. So she was on the left's good list. Same with Rashida Tlaib for going after Joe Biden on the tarmac when he landed at the F-150 plant or when he arrived at the F-150 plant. She is, of course, Palestinian. She stood up for Palestinians, and there were pictures taken of her actually confronting Joe Biden, so she was on the good side of the left. And it was no surprise that a couple of days later, when the Capitol Security Budget Bill came along that gives $2 billion to the Capitol Security Fund, it was those two and Jamaal Bowman who voted incorrect. They voted absent and did not stop that bill from passing. Okay? They were chosen to take the fall because they were, at least two of the three, had recently done good things, so they were least likely to take a lot of flack from the left. That was by design. And what I said, guys, is now that those people are in the shit can, now that they're all in the fucking dumpster with the left, they will necessarily be the ones to vote correct, and I predicted on the infrastructure bill. And then I was proven partially right when Jamaal Bowman came out 2 days ago vehemently on Twitter and on CNN saying, I'm going to have a hard time voting for this bill if the budget doesn't go up to at least $2 trillion. That's the line in the sand that he was willing to draw, at least rhetorically. And I was like, oh, here we go. Rotating hero. Jamaal Bowman voted incorrectly on everything so far. He needs a boost. He's the one that drew the long straw in this case to be the one to come out on the correct side of the infrastructure bill. And what did I say? I said, look for the other two that voted incorrect, Rashida and AOC, to come out vehemently defending something for the infrastructure bill to get them back on the left's bright side. And here's the next piece of evidence. AOC came out today, among a couple other senators like Ed Markey. They said, basically, if you don't put green energy in the infrastructure bill, we're going to vote against it. Hard line in the sand. They said, no climate, no deal. I'm going to read to you here from Common Dreams. Progressive members of Congress on Wednesday signaled that they would be willing to withhold their votes from any infrastructure package that skimps on climate action after one of President Joe Biden's top advisors suggested that key green energy proposals could be excluded from the eventual bill. Rep. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the lead House sponsor of the Green New Deal resolution, echoed Heinrich, who's Martin Heinrich, one of the Senate Democrats from New Mexico, declaring, quote, the Republican Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and the Koch brothers are not worth setting the planet on fire for. I know some Democrats may disagree with me, Ocasio-Cortez added in an apparent jab at Senator Joe Manchin, a member of the bipartisan group that Biden turned to after cutting off the infrastructure negotiations with Senator Shelley Capito Moore on Tuesday. President Biden and Senate Democrats should take a step back and ask themselves if playing patty cake with the GOP senators is really worth the dismantling of people's voting rights, setting the planet on fire, allowing massive corporations and the wealthy to not pay their fair taxes, etc., said Ocasio-Cortez, who has backed progressive calls for a $10 trillion infrastructure and climate spending over the next decade. End quote. So that's good. That is good. And see, it works because I agree with AOC, at least rhetorically here, and I like the fact that they're like, yeah, we're drawing a line in the sand. We're not going to vote for this. But it doesn't matter, guys, because here's the thing. You need 4 of them. Rashida, AOC and Jamaal Bowman can all vote correct on this, and it will still mean nothing. They can still exclude all the green energy they want from this. It takes at least 4. So the rotating heroes, and Jamaal and Rashida and AOC are the villains right now. They are going to be the ones that come out in favor of blocking bad things in the infrastructure bill and including good things in the infrastructure bill, and they'll be the ones that get the press for it. On another note, the other person I said who's on a cold streak was Ilhan Omar, and she got a lot of good press again. She was villainous because she just hasn't really voted for anything good. In particular, she's been on a real big cold streak. She got a lot of press this morning for, I think, calling out the U.S. imperialist regime that we commit human atrocities all over the globe, and got all the Republicans riled up, acting like Trump didn't say that exact same thing when he was being interviewed at the beginning of the Super Bowl. Said that we were all killers, including the U.S. So she's now back on the good side of the left. That's by design. They elevated her, even though all it was rhetoric. She didn't do anything. She just came out, more or less on the side of not engaging in imperialism in other countries and causing massive death, and then pretending like we're completely sacrosanct. We're the most imperialist nation on the planet. Let's not act like we're good people. That's all she was saying, and she got so much press for that, and good press from the left, bad press from the Republicans. That's by design, because she hasn't done anything good lately. They're trying to remind the left that she's still on our side, even though she's not. I mean, she didn't do anything. It's rhetorically correct, but it doesn't mean a thing. And also, AOC's comments here don't mean a goddamn thing. Even if she, and expect Rashida Tlaib to come out and do something similar, and they'll shine the biggest spotlight on that ever, being like, hey, remember, forget about that Capitol security bad vote last week. Look at what Rashida's doing now, at least what she's saying. Rashida will be next. Even if Rashida, AOC, and Jamaal Bowman all vote correct on this one, it doesn't even matter. You need 4. And they all have to be on the record coming out in public saying, I'm not going to vote for this unless this is included. It has to be crystal clear what they're vying for. So what I expect to happen is that maybe 2 or 3 of these people, particularly those 2 or 3, will probably vote correct on the infrastructure bill, and it won't matter a goddamn bit because they don't have the numbers. So they do it on purpose so that they can virtue signal and say, yeah, I was on the wrong side of the Capitol security budget, but remember, I was also on the right side later that week of the infrastructure bill. And they alternate perfectly. They do the math so that nothing ever gets passed, and it puts the veneer that some of them sometimes are on the right side, but when the rubber meets the road, they never ever vote as a block to actually get what they want done, and that is by design. And this further proves my point. I told you guys that it's going to be Jamaal, AOC, and Rashida that come out and get a lot of press over something that they're doing that's good in the near future, because they're the ones that just got shit canned for their bad Capitol security budget vote. And lo and behold, 2 out of 3 so far. Rashida's next. Watch. She'll be the next one that gets the spotlight for saying something in public, or for going after Joe Manchin or something like that on the infrastructure bill. Expect it. In the next couple of days, Rashida Tlaib will be the next one, and they will likely be the ones that will vote correct, and it'll be inconsequential on the infrastructure bill. It's by design. I'm not a genius. I'm a pattern recognition filter, and this pattern is obvious to me. So that's what they're doing. They're rotating heroes again. And I knew that as soon as Bowman went on CNN and was so fiery and it had the correct rhetoric on the infrastructure bill, I was like, next thing you're going to see is AOC's going next, then Rashida, or something like that. Those 3, because those are the ones that have been ostracized by the left lately. It's no accident. Keep fighting the good fight out there, guys. I'll talk to you later.